and we're online on Revolution Radio. And
fantastic.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Has Melissa contacted you yet about doing a program or doing an interview?
I haven't heard anything, no. But
okay. All right.
I got your email today, and tell everybody about your eyeballs, please.
Oh, my eyeballs. Okay. Well, I had said hell's going to freeze over before they finally fix my eye. I finally wrote some letters to the people here and complaints that they call BP9s and BP10s, etc., that said it was approaching the point of institutional incompetence, and I started to believe that this was a conspiracy, that this Dr. Kalumhai was some kind of quack or fraud. I mean, they knew I was working on my appeal myself. They knew that I did not have an attorney. They denied me phone calls to the people that were my paralegals who were helping me put everything together. And so, it just made everything far more difficult with one eye. So this Dr. Kalumhai did the first operation, not telling me that it was going to make me completely blind in my right eye, in which he was repairing what he called the macular degeneration of the eye. Now, I did see a picture of it, and it looked like somebody hit a clown in the face with a pie when it's supposed to look like sort of like a perfect cone or volcano. But he didn't tell me that I was going to be completely blind in my right eye. I mean, I could still see out of my right eye. I mean, I could see people and shapes and colors, and I could actually see out of it with I could drive and do all the things that I could do with glasses. But what happened was that they like deadened a part of my eye or something, and it lost oxygen in the eye. And so I was walking around with this big black bubble that looked like seeing through a carpenter's level, and then the bubble grew 2 ears, and it literally was looking like Mickey Mouse's face, like a big black circle and 2 big black ears on it. And I just said, well, and this was 11 months ago. I mean, I've been walking around blind in my right eye, like Odin, who'd had his eyes plucked out, his right eye plucked out by the ravens on the Yggdrasil tree. And finally, when it snowed on Friday, I mean, we made snowmen, and we were out there having snowball fights until they told us it was class 4 assault. That could be a felony to hit somebody in the face with a snowball. They called my name on the speaker, and they dragged me out to this guy named Dr. Diaz. And he basically just looked at my eye, poked me in the eye with a blue light, and said, okay, we got all your measurements and everything. And I said, look, I've got to get this operation soon. I can't drive. I can't ride a motorcycle. I can't drive a car. I can't do anything that I'm supposed to be able to do once I get out of here because I'm blind in this eye. And I could be getting out any day. I tried to explain to him that my 6 dispository motions to dispose of this nonsense had not been responded to. They are unopposed and uncontested, which means I win. They gave up. Somebody at the top, like from the president's office, called and said, lay off this guy. So they were supposed to respond as of December 1st of last year, and it's been 90 days and we haven't heard anything. And so I said, as soon as the Ninth Circuit Court rules, I'm free. I'm out of here. I'm done. Right now I'm really just collecting $1,000.
This call is from a federal prison.
$1,000 a day in damages, and probably far more than that when I'm free and clear. So there's that. So anyway, so that was it. It kind of poked me in the eye, took measurements, and sent me back here with the promise, again, cold hell will freeze over, that they will operate on this one more time, and I guess they have to remove the cataract and replace the lens in my eye, which apparently was what was damaged from no oxygen or something from this other quack that looked at me. And look, I've seen guys die in this system. I mean, I told you I had a guy die while I was trying to do CPR on him in San Bernardino, and there's been a few guys in here that have died, all from institutional incompetence and complete institutional neglect. So it's not like they care about you in here. All right. Meanwhile, I just want to let everybody know that Melissa is free. And she actually volunteered at not free, but she's at the Halfway House, which is sort of like co-ed semi-jail. But she did manage to work the Conscious Life Expo this weekend. She has a PayPal account for anybody that wants to know. She's the one that needs the help. She's the one that literally needs clothes and shoes and money for food. The Halfway House is really kind of a scam because you get out and if you get a job, you have to pay them 25% of whatever it is you make. And I think you're paying for your own food and your own gas and obviously everything else. And you have to go out looking for a job, while they give you these passes. So anyway, she's at PayPal.me. That's PayPal.me/help Melissa. PayPal.me/help Melissa. And it's kind of like she had the idea of putting together like a wedding registry or something. When you get married, people send you a toaster and a microwave oven and all that because, again, the I don't know what to call them, criminals, people who were friends who turned into criminals. I'm not sure which, but they admitted to the fact that they stole probably about $15,000 from us and robbed us blind. And now they're not helping Melissa at all. To which I warned them that if they didn't help Melissa when she was out there, that the wrath of God, the hammer of Thor, was coming down on them when I get out of this place for all the things that they did to us. But they looted our bank accounts. They're guilty of bank fraud, grand theft auto, stole my car and sold it, hacked our bank accounts and stole all the money out of that. As a matter of fact, they were hacking our PayPal accounts as well. Somebody out there was actually, I think, taking money for the book orders and then not sending the books and keeping the money. And Melissa actually found a debit card of one of these criminals, actually in the, in the name of the criminal, in her post office box. So hopefully we're dealing with PayPal now to get some of the money back that, that was stolen. All right, let's talk about all the things that are going on. First off, a momentous trip of the fact that Trump is in Hanoi. I think right now he's meeting with Kim Jong-un on Wednesday. And let me give myself a little bit of credit for this. For 20 years, I've been saying, when Ed Dames was saying there was going to be nuclear war with North Korea, when Gordon Michael Scallion was saying there was going to be nuclear war, when Dolores Cannon, probably the worst person I've ever met, all of these people were saying there was going to be nuclear war with North Korea. I was the only one that continued to say, no, they're going to reunify. They're going to get along. They're going to merge back together. There's not going to be a nuclear. There's not going to be any kind of conflict between them, and it's going to be capitalism that is eventually going to. And I said back in '94 that the communist system will be changed by capitalism, both in North Korea and in China as well. So I think that Trump's going to be very successful. I believe that he's going to show Kim Jong-un that by coming to the table and by getting people jobs and getting people work and through commerce, that we're going to be able to overcome war there. But I've been the only person out there saying that North and South Korea would eventually come to an agreement to reunify. I think it is interesting, though, that there's no they're not discussing actually South Korea and North Korea moving into business ventures together, which I find odd. So I don't know if he's going to bring international business into North Korea or how it's going to work. But I do believe that they're going to denuclearize the entire peninsula, and I think that's going to be a big victory for Trump. Again, the Mueller report is going to come out. Mueller's a scumbag, ladies and gentlemen. He's a complete scumbag. He's the guy who was put in charge of the FBI 6 months before 9/11, which means he was responsible for that cover-up. Him and his team were responsible for arresting Richard Jewell, who was the guy who they accused of blowing up the Olympic Games in Atlanta, and he turned out the guy was completely innocent. But I can put to 4 or 5 high-profile cases that Mueller's had to do with where the people have been found completely innocent. It's been overturned by the circuit courts and the Supreme Court, and they've had to pay out millions of.
This call is from a federal prison.
By the way, the DOJ gets it wrong so often that they've got $1 billion slush fund to pay out damages to people that they wrongfully throw in jail. And anybody will tell you that the media and the Department of Justice are one and the same, that part of their prosecutorial strategy is to be able to smear people in the press, to be able to basically go after their friends, go after their family, smear them in the press, lose their jobs, throw as many things at them as they can to basically bankrupt them and cripple them so they can't afford their legal representation. And in my case, ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could make this up, I'd raised nearly $10,000 to help me with my appeal, thanks to people like Kerry Cassidy and Lorian Fenton and your friend JP on the radio here, but through all the radio contacts and everything else and some webinars that I did, I raised nearly $10,000, and the Department of Justice threatened GoFundMe and said, you're going to send all the money back because we're not going to allow him to raise money for his legal defense. Do you think that that's standard practice for the Department of Justice? But anyway, somebody picked up a phone somewhere at the top and said, look, let this guy go, and now I'm just waiting on the Ninth Circuit Court. Let's talk about, I don't get to talk about the cosmic aspect of it. Once again, I want to thank Beth Boyer who came here this weekend, and she visited me on Saturday and Sunday, and she's been so wonderful and so kind and so generous, and she's going to be going out to visit Melissa and all the people that have been so generous and kind to me here. Let me just get into the overall cosmic consciousness of all of this. In 2012, we saw a direct alignment with the center of the galaxy, and for the first time in 26,000 years, approximately, we're now living in an era where the veil has been taken off both the left and the right-hand side of the brain. So for however long in our evolution, we've been playing with one part of our brain tied behind our backs. For the first time in 26,000 years, the veil has been dropped, so we're being able to massively access the right-hand side of the brain. The right side of the brain is what we call the passive, feminine, submissive side of the brain that thinks in terms of symbols, archetypes, fluidic movement, but it's the quantum side of the brain where all the psychic powers come from. So psilocybins and MDA and all these psychotropic drugs all activate the right side of the brain. So let me put this into effect, is that the Mayan calendar runs in cycles of 13 and 20. So in 2012, now we're in what's called the Night of the Jaguar, and the Night of the Jaguar runs until 2025. And I can tell you when the New Age really is going to begin, and that's going to be Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, actually, December 24th of 2024. And the reason that particular date is unique, it's when Pluto finally moves into Aquarius. I mean, Pluto's going to move into Aquarius for about 3 months in 2022, and we're going to get a taste of it. Then it retrogrades back into Capricorn, and then finally gets out of Capricorn altogether into Aquarius. But it means it's going to shake up everything. It's going to shake up all the banks and all the systems and everything to be able to replace it with a, I don't know, you could call it a truly Christian communistic society. I mean, it was Paul, I think, that was the one that said, "From each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs," and that he is the one that coined that term for the Christian societies. The biggest thing this has to do with is this 13-year phase, this Night of the Jaguar, is us being digested by the Jaguar, so to speak, so that we can then be rebirthed. We're crapped out into a whole new world, which then ends in 2025. And as I'm saying, if you look at Capricorn and Pluto, it's returning. The last time Capricorn was in Pluto was between about 1765 and about 1780 or so. So we're going through the next American Revolution. The election of Trump and all the things that Trump is exposing puts us right about at 1773, which would be the Boston Tea Party, the Battle of Lexington coming up, so to speak, and then leading up to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, where if you look at the same degree, that's going to happen in 2022. At the same time in 2022, you have to look at the constellation of Cygnus. Cygnus, the swan, which is also known as the Northern Cross, it's the symbol of royalty. There's so much significance to the swan if you look at the royal bloodlines and royal houses. Now, some people say it represents Lucifer because swans are very vain on the outside, but if you've ever been golfing and been attacked by a swan, and I have a couple of times, they're mean sons of bitches. And but Cygnus the swan, which is also known as the Northern Cross, a fascinating thing happens in June of 2022. And that is a supernova. Now, the supernova exploded in 1638, and we've been waiting for the light and the heat and the shock wave from the supernova ever since. And it actually appears the 1st of June, and you can look up your astronomy books for this, of 2022. Now, Madame, who was a very famous psychic in the 20th century, said that a Death Star would appear near the swan, and that this would lead to a great age and a culling of men and animals, as she was saying. But as I said, the entire thing is we're going through the Night of the Jaguar, where everybody needs to focus on being more psychic, more sensitive, more feminine, more caring, more giving, and more generous. And speaking of more generous, once again, if you want to help Melissa, it's paypal.me/help for any donations you want to put out there. I can't even tell you, $20, $40, $50, $60, or $100 would help her so much. She needs to get the car repaired. It needs to get clothes and food and whatever else. JP, God bless you. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to have Melissa call you, and you can do an extended interview with her. And everybody help JP and say thank you so much for letting me be on the phone. Talk to you next week.
All right,
Strange
God bless.
Universe.
Good night, and good luck with your eyeballs.
Thank you, boss. Bye-bye.